Well, PCMA and convening leaders brings brilliant minds together, and there's a lot of problems that we're all trying to solve. So what a better place to go and tap the minds of both hoteliers, CVBs, meeting planners, conventions that all have a stake in trying to find solutions to these big problems. We didn't have a ton of time both in the session but also during the planning. So one of my tips is make sure you don't skip out on the planning because it doesn't just come together. But most hackathons are 24 to 48 hours. We had 60 minutes. So the goal of the session was, here's the framework of how you build a hackathon, but then also give them a taste of, okay, go ahead and hack for 15 minutes, get uncomfortable, see how it felt. Let's dive into the first 15 minutes, see how that goes, and then hack again and see what solutions come out of that. More time, I think, allows for more solutions to be created and shared. One key feature or one suggestion or best practice for any hackathon is, in the normal hackathons, these teams come in already formed. In this scenario, you have to form your own teams. You're getting to know everybody there. So we try to encourage that the teams are a diverse group of people, right? You don't have all the same type of people to avoid the groupthink, because then you're just going to get the same ideas over and over again. So you want to make sure you diversify who's in that group with each other to spark the different types of conversations and build upon it. So they don't know each other, and that's part of the networking. And then as a result, they're exchanging cards, they're following up afterwards. So I like what you said about that. We may not be solving that, so they tabled it, but that networking aspect is definitely a outcome of any meeting. Face-to-face meetings matter. The hackathons allow the face-to-face to happen. Creativity Inc. was sparked from the book, Creativity Inc., but Pixar. And I'm a big fan of Pixar and the movies that they produce. And how do they get that creative? How do those storylines get born? What happens? So in Creativity Inc., they give you a behind-the-look at a brain trust and what Ed Catmull and the Pixar leadership created. And as I was reading it and hearing how these stories came about, and some of the greatest stories that we've seen on screen today had a different plot until the brain trust came and twisted not only the storyline, but the villains and how the different characters came out to play in the movie. And I thought to myself, in business, we have these teams that come together. And in my world, sales, we're always trying to create the best sales experience. So you've got different ways of thinking about how to tackle a sale. So how could I take this idea of brain trust and apply it to the sales world? And so with my teams, I have a monthly brain trust. And every month there's a new owner, or in the case of Pixar, a director. And that director then pitches their opportunity or whatever they're working on to their peers to say, hey, this is the opportunity I'm working with, or this is the challenge I have. And all of a sudden they've got all these like brains to come together and help them solve it. But there's some key components that need to be there in order for the brain trust to work. One, absolute candor, and Ed talks about this in the book. If you don't have that candor, the results are not going to be there. So the team has to be very vulnerable, and they got to understand that the team is trying to help them. So they're going to poke holes. They're going to ask difficult questions. And like a director, you become so close to your piece of business that you think, I don't know if I tried that. You got to let your guard down and let the team poke at you and say, you need to try this. I've seen it happen. It could happen there. So as a result, you're getting all these ideas, and at the end, hopefully, in my case, my team members got a clear roadmap of where they can go on this journey with the customer. In the case of Pixar, they have a better story, a better plot line that's going to take place, and hopefully the audiences will appreciate it more. So candor, vulnerability, ultimately trust has to be there with the team. And if you have those components, you're going to have a good session. So when I heard about hackathons, I immediately thought, okay, a hackathon's bringing together strangers. The brain trust is really for a team that's already been formed, right? The trust is there, the foundation is there, but those fundamentals that have to be there with the people in the brain trust need to be present in the hackathon, right? So they've got to be vulnerable. They got to know at the table that they're hacking with that they may throw out an idea that everybody else is like, I'm not so sure that's good. You got to have that thick skin and be there. The candor has to be there, or else it's not going to work. And finally, that trust has to be there. And if those components are there in the hackathon and the teams embrace that, I think they're going to move quicker to get to the solutions faster. So that's where I thought, this model could play into how a hackathon is generated. So one key element of hackathons is, in traditional hackathons, is the teams are entering not just for their health. They're entering for a prize. Normally it's $25,000, a scholarship, something. There is a carrot at the end of the hackathon. So in our scenario, we always encourage organizers to have a prize at the end. What that looks like can be determined by the organization, but this is a great opportunity for them to find a sponsor, to sponsor that prize. And what that does for the sponsor is every exhibitor or sponsor is looking for a unique way to get their brand out there. Sponsoring a hackathon is saying, hey, we're behind the betterment, the creating of a new idea for our industry. We want to be part of that, and we're going to support it, whether it's through the monetary prize from their product that they offer or service. And that's just another way for an organizer to increase their sponsorship dollars, but also get a sponsor's name out there in a unique, different way that has not been done before.